Hi, and welcome to this presentation of two distinct approaches to non-medical vaccine exemptions. So the two states whose approaches to non-medical vaccine exemptions we'll be looking at are California and Vermont. So starting off with California, which has an eliminationist approach to non-medical vaccine exemptions. In 2015, the state of California eliminated all non-medical vaccine exemptions, meaning individuals couldn't opt out of receiving vaccinations solely because of their personal or religious beliefs. The exigence behind this decision was an outbreak of measles in Disneyland among unvaccinated individuals. The only exemptions granted are medical exemptions for people that may experience severe side effects or have pre existing medical ailments that might negatively be affected by the vaccine. Parents are allowed to enroll their children in school and daycare so long as they provide proof of being up to date with the state's vaccination schedule. In Vermont, there's an approach that prioritizes religious exemptions, and they eliminated all other non-medical exemptions in 2015. Similar to California, medical exemptions are granted, but so are religious ones. So knowing these two distinct approaches, here are the main takeaways. In both cases, there is an obvious decision to create a stricter approach to the way preventable diseases are combated. By eliminating all non-medical exemptions in California and eliminating all non-medical exemptions except for religious ones in Vermont, there's a clear effort to minimize the spread of preventable diseases. Another main takeaway from these approaches is a rise in polarization. In California, almost all Democrat state legislators voted in support of this law, and almost all Republicans voted against it. And especially when statistically Republicans are more likely to lean towards legislation that benefits religious values, there is a link between support for religious values and opposition to stricter vaccination laws, leading to increased political polarization. Another form of polarization that has occurred in California as a result of this law is polarization among Californians. Since children are only allowed to enroll in school if they provide proof of staying up to date with receiving their vaccinations, many parents with strong convictions against vaccines have, instead, pulled their children out of school instead of getting them vaccinated. If anything, that does exactly the opposite of what Californian politicians who voted in favor of this law had hoped. Parents have also sparked protests and other forms of civil disobedience to get schools to stop excluding unvaccinated children, and some parents, knowing the potential economic vulnerability of their children's schools, have also threatened these schools economically. In Vermont, the main form of polarization as a result of this law is the valuing of religious convictions over personal beliefs. Many Vermont residents have conveyed their dismay at the way personal beliefs do not matter as much as religious ones do, and have sparked opposing beliefs on what exactly a religion is and how the beliefs of a religion are any more meaningful than personal beliefs. As I highlighted in the overview presentation of this topic, there is no major religion that has a specific doctrine that opposes vaccine, with one exception. Therefore, there need not be proof provided when demonstrating a specific opposition to vaccinations when someone receives a religious exemption. And this idea has also sparked a lot of controversy surrounding this law. Finally, onto the principles of bioethics and their role in these two different approaches. Starting with autonomy. In California, individuals really have a lack of autonomy over their decision to receive vaccinations because all non-medical exemptions were eliminated through that law. In response to this lack of autonomy, many Californians have protested against the exclusion of people with personal religious beliefs against vaccinations. In Vermont, there is a bit more autonomy for people with religious oppositions to vaccines over their decision to receive vaccinations, but the same can't be said about people that oppose vaccinations because of their personal beliefs. Next is beneficence and non-maleficence, which really do overlap in the analysis of these approaches. Through both these pieces of legislation, there is a clear effort from state leaders to combat the spread of preventable illnesses. I believe that the beneficence and non-maleficence were the main guiding principles in the creation of these laws, and they clearly meant more than the principle of autonomy. By increasing societal beneficence and non-maleficence, there is a correlation with decreased autonomy. Finally, justice. In California, by eliminating non-medical exemptions and requiring everyone to get vaccinated, they're essentially also committing to providing these vaccines to all residents, thereby demonstrating the principle of justice. However, a point where there's a lack of justice isn't economic status. As I said earlier, there are parents threatening their children's economically vulnerable schools if they exclude their unvaccinated children. This ability to economically threaten their school shows the power that the economic status of a family plays in their voicing of their opposition to vaccinations. They have a greater ability to not get their children vaccinated and face smaller consequences as compared to a parent that doesn't want their children vaccinated but doesn't have the economic resources to publicly share their opinions and actually create some sort of impact. In the case of Vermont, I think justice plays out in a bit of an untraditional way. Justice plays out in the sense that there is less access to the choice to receive a vaccination for people that oppose it because of personal beliefs than for people that oppose it because of religious beliefs. There's more value placed on the convictions of a religion, thereby offering religious individuals with a greater opportunity to oppose vaccination. So I hope you liked this short presentation and learned something new, and thank you so much for watching.